when should a CFI stay silent? Should flight schools require students to use for-flight EFB from the start? Is it essential, or should students start with paper first? Should you start training in the classroom on the whiteboard, or should you just jump in to the airplane? And here's kind of where the debate comes in.
Welcome to the Aviation Mentors Podcast, the podcast that takes your dreams of flight and turns it into reality.
Sponsored by Strass Financial, financing your flight training.
For pilots, by pilots. I'm Brandon Martini, a commercial pilot and flight instructor.
And I'm Carson Vasquez, I'm a private pilot.
Whether you're a seasoned pilot or beginner with dreams of flight,
Aviation Mentors is your source for expert insights, industry trends, and inspiring stories.
So fasten your seatbelts and prepare for this incredible journey through the skies.
And stay connected with us on social media for exclusive content.
And visit our website at www.aviationmentors.com and let us be your co-pilot on this adventure.
Welcome back, everybody, to another awesome and, of course, amazing episode of the Aviation Mentors Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, Brandon is a little under the weather.
And that's why I'm sitting so far away from him, because I have a terrible immune system. And I don't want whatever this dude gets.
And producer Mark is also sick, but he came in just today for the recording. So sorry if my voice is a little messed up and if I pause to drink some water today. But we are here to do some debating. Carson and I were already debating right before this on one of the first items. So I think we're going to start with that one.
Okay. I want to hear your opinion. It's turning stalls versus level flight stalls.
Well, when we first started, Carson said, I don't think people should do turning stalls when they're working in primary flight training. Why would you say that, Carson?
I just think it causes more risk and can cause a fear of stalls later.
I disagree. I think that learning to do a turning stall first before you master normal stalls, like a power on or power off stall, then I think that a turning stall is something that you need to know. Because guess what? When are you going to most likely end up in a stall in a bad position?
When you're turning. When you're low to the ground and turning.
Low to the ground and turning. Exactly. That is probably the number one way that people get into spins, low-level spins, and kill themselves. And that's happening when they are flight training and turning from base to final. So why not learn turning stalls?
I think level flight stalls should be done first.
Yes. Okay. I will agree with you on that.
Okay.
If you can't tell everybody, we're doing some debating today.
I don't think you should never do turning stalls. That's something I actually didn't do in my private training.
Neither did I. Really? That's why I'm so adamant about we should do it now.
I also think that we should bring spin training back for private pilots. We've talked about that before.
We've talked about that before. Yeah, I'm hit or miss on that one. So here's another one.
You've had students spin you and you don't want to go through that.
No, I've never had a student spin me.
No?
Not one time.
Oh, because you're a good CFI. And
yeah, I don't allow them to spin me.
I've seen CFIs come back and they're just like all upset. I'm like, what's wrong? My student spun me today.
Yeah, I think they are.
So is it just not also, shadowing the controls with the student that leads to that?
I think that if you're talking through something with the student, they should not spin you. There's no reason to spin.
I haven't gotten close to doing a spin unless it was intentional, so I get it.
I mean, it's just uses the rudder. Use the rudder. I think that most CFIs don't know how to use the rudder either, by the way.
That's a whole other issue.
Okay. Here's the next question. It doesn't have to do with the stalls, because I want to continue with that. But when should somebody start learning some tail wheel training? When do you think that should happen?
I think that should happen in the middle of private pilot.
I fully agree.
Because that teaches you how to use the rudder and really get comfortable with the rudder and what it really does.
It actually makes you a good stick. It makes it so you can actually fly the airplane. Because Cessnas fly by themselves. They literally, if you just let a Cessna do its thing, it'll go down, it'll fly, and then it'll go down, and then it'll fly. It's meant to fly. There's a reason why it's been in the same, it's looked the same for 60 years or whatever it's been, right?
That makes sense.
They like flying.
I think just tail wheel on the ground, just taxiing around to understand, you press the rudder, this is what happens. That's important. At the bare minimum, right?
Go do a little bit of tail wheel flying. I guarantee it'll change your life.
It's fun,
and it's fun, and you'll learn how to use the rudder. And I bet you, if everybody did that, you would have less CFIs allowing their students getting into spins.
Yeah. And I think understanding, when to step on the ball, right? Because not every part of your flight you need to be actively on the rudder and overcorrecting, because a lot of students tend to overcorrect.
Okay.
They see it go just a little bit to the right, step on the right rudder.
I will say you should.
Then they end up swaying side to side.
You should be using. Okay, I get what you're saying. The way that it came out did not sound like that. You should be using the rudder the entire time you are flying. But a lot of people will overcorrect, and when you overcorrect and step on that ball, and it goes to the left. Yes, I get that. You just need to figure out how to keep your feet like this, and they just stop. And if you can't see my hands right now, I have one hand. I'm acting like it's my rudder pedal, and it's like 2-3 inches ahead of my left hand. So that needs to be kind of how you use your rudder pedals, and they just stop. You're not just like constantly moving them back and forth. That doesn't make any sense.
No, it's not like the Flintstones car.
Not the Flintstones car.
All right. What's next?
All right. Accelerated stalls in primary training.
I don't know about primary training. That is a commercial one, right?
It is.
Yeah. I think commercial is a good place for it. Let me finish my sentence.
No, Carson.
Let me finish my sentence.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good place, but I think students should be introduced to them early as a private pilot.
Disagree.
At this point, I think we should redo the entire way that we do flight training. And if you're going to do a career path, you learn these things in these stages.
That's why they came up with sport pilot.
I'll be damned. Wow, I've never had an original idea, huh?
Actually, they also came out with recreational pilot, but I think there's only like 10 of those even in the world right now. So yeah, it doesn't really matter. They should definitely do accelerated stalls. Think about this. Somebody's in a nosedive, right? They screw up. They put themselves into a spin. Now they put themselves into a spin. And what are they going to do? They are going to pull up. What's going to happen when they pull up? Secondary accelerated stall. Boom. Now you're close to the ground, secondary accelerated stall. Now you're going to be facing straight down, and you're actually going to have to push the
plane down more.
And then you're going to have to pull slowly up, and hopefully you don't get into another accelerated stall.
Aerodynamics are crazy.
Yes, Carson, they are crazy. And that's why people need to learn how to deal with them.
That's why you stay away from VNE. Because if you're in a nosedive, you already have an issue.
Well, if you got into the spin, now your speed is increasing massively.
How would you get into a spin in a nosedive and pull up? Is that why you power idle first?
Correct.
Oh, wow. I'm so smart.
Yes, pair. Pair is the way.
Okay, I understand that.
What does pair stand for, Carson? Do we remember?
Yeah, power idle, aileron neutral, rudder the opposite direction, and elevator up.
To break the stall. Elevator to break the stall. And the reason why it says elevator to break the stall is because you do not want to get into another stall, secondary stall, or an accelerated stall.
Ooh. Now I'm trying to imagine that. That's a little scary.
It would be scary.
Yeah, just a little bit.
And that's why you should go with the CFI who knows what they're doing. Not all CFIs know what they're doing, FYI.
If you listen to the podcast, you do. But for everyone else, do you trust a CFI to be doing those?
Depends on the CFI.
And that's the problem.
That is the problem. That is a big problem with our industry. Our industry needs better training and not just pilot mills that just pump out pilots and pump out another pilot. And then they start relearning all of their things that they learned. I have a feeling we're going to make a lot of people irritated with this episode. I feel feisty on this episode, by the way.
You're always feisty.
Yeah, but extra today. Maybe because I'm sick.
Probably.
I took my Dayquil.
How long can you fly? Or how long do you have to wait till flying?
My brain is all foggy right now from taking the Dayquil and being sick. I think it's 36 hours or something. I don't know. I'm not going to fly for a week. FAA, I'm not flying for a week. That's all you have to know. Okay. So that brings us into creating fear versus respect for stalls. Should CFIs make stalls scary to prevent complacency, or should they normalize them?
Normalize them. We did stalls so many times that if a stall was to happen, I wouldn't even think twice on what to do.
You would think 3 times.
I'll drink 3 times when I do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. We need to prevent complacency.
Yeah. I mean, don't make this like a thing that, oh, I've heard about stalls or we've done them, a couple times. No, do it all the time. Every time you're flying, practice it.
I would agree. All right. So when students are learning, I know for a fact, and this happens in every industry, by the way, you start using aviation jargon with your brand new students. They're like, base to final, downwind, upwind, Bravo, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot, Golf. And then they start talking about VNE and VMC and IFR and VFR. And I just named just a handful of aviation jargon, right?
You use so many acronyms in aviation.
There are and I said pair earlier. I'm safe. Oh, that one sounds pretty legit, though. I mean, it's 2 words put together. I'm safe. And in reality, no, it doesn't mean what the student will think it means. I think that CFI should use proper terminology, but also explain what the jargon means. Like if you say VMC.
What does VMC stand for again?
It stands for minimum control speed, which doesn't make very much sense actually, because it's mostly for multi-engine pilots. Not even mostly for, it's for multi-engine pilots, multi-engine airplanes. But like VFR, I remember when I was, that one. Okay, what's that one?
Visual flight rules.
Okay. So I remember when I was learning to fly and they would use like VFR. That's a basic one, right? Or IMC or IFR. And I didn't know what any of those things meant. And I didn't want to ask, now I have a different rule on asking dumb questions, but I didn't want to ask any of the dumb questions. And I ended up staying dumb.
It's going to lead to the student being more confused and staying quiet. And yeah,
they're not going to answer the questions. You really have to, I don't know, in the beginning, over explain. And if you're a student listening to this, because a lot of people are students listening to this, ask the questions. Don't be afraid to ask the questions because they're going to use all this jargon. And you're going to be like, what the heck did they just say?
Or you can write it down, make a mental note, look it up later. But the thing is, don't forget it because it's going to be a daily part of your flying.
Oh, big time. And then after you'll get used to it and it won't be a big deal. I mean, I named 10 or 15 different aviation words just off the top of my head. And I probably have forgotten more than most students start out knowing. Should go on my quote list, by the way.
That will. Don't worry.
Thank you.
I've forgotten more than you'll ever know.
All right. Should you start training in the classroom on the whiteboard, or should you just jump in to the airplane? And here's kind of where the debate comes in. The airplane is a terrible classroom. I've heard that so many times. I have mixed feelings.
I do too, because the airplane can be a terrible classroom.
It could also be an amazing classroom.
And it doesn't even depend on the airplane or what you're learning necessarily. It really depends on the external factors, right? How you're feeling that day, how the CFI is feeling that day. If the sky is pretty clear and there's time to talk while you're flying, if there's room in the practice area to actually go over like a new maneuver and teach it while you're doing it, it helps to make sense.
Hot take, everybody. The airplane is an amazing classroom. I know I'm getting a lot of hate for that. I can't wait.
We're going to get like 3 million views on that video and a lot of hate comments for you.
I hope so. Hey, by the way, we're official influencers now. We got our first check from Meta for $77.
Over the last 4 months.
3 months. Yeah. I think it was last 3 months. Yeah. Q4. Woo!
I told Mark, I said, hey, bud, I just want you to do whatever happened in the last 3 months about 2,000 times a month for like the next couple of years. And we'll be pretty set. So thanks. I appreciate that.
Exactly. All right. So besides me, it's just trying to get people irritated at me when we have our reels. I really think that the airplane is a great classroom, but you need to learn a little bit in the
classroom.
In the classroom,
you'd have a general understanding.
Sick. That's why.
Sick. You'd have a general understanding of what you're going to be doing. Explaining what a stall is, what to expect, and then going and doing it. All right. You need to have the hands-on experience and actually feel it with your body and understand what's going on. But it's not a good time to explain the aerodynamics of a stall, why you need to break it, how you need to break it, the two different types of stalls. And that's not stuff that should be taught in the plane. That's stuff that should be generally covered. But
I'll tell you, I was never taught in a classroom prior. I was only taught in an airplane. and I soloed it 10 and a half hours or whatever it was. So it can be the right classroom for the right person. I'll tell you this, if I had somebody standing up there because it's my learning style and they're just talking to me, it's going to go one ear and out the other. I'm a hands-on person. So until I get in that airplane, I'm not going to understand anything. So I think as your CFI, they really need to kind of see and balance, like how much classroom instruction do you actually need compared. Now, if you go to a large flight school, they're going to force you to go do ground school for hours and then go learn it in the book and then take a test and then go actually apply and do it. That works sometimes, but if that doesn't work for you, then maybe that's not the right type of school for you. You need a different type of school. That wouldn't have worked for me. And if I would have done that, I would have never gotten a private pilot certificate ever.
I think a lot of CFIs take into account their learning and their teaching style, and they don't adapt to the student. I had CFIs that just didn't adapt to my learning style, which again, you're just hands-on, and they would just talk and talk and talk, and that's not going to do much for me.
No.
I either have to read it in a book, see it on a board, or do it.
Yeah.
But the thing just talking to me, that doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, I could not understand VORs. I was taught VORs for like a month and a half.
But actually doing it.
They put it on a whiteboard, and they were like, to, from, it's coming from here. And
there's a little flag.
Yeah. I could not understand the concept. Now I look back and I'm like, oh, wow, I can't believe I couldn't understand this concept. It's so simple. No, it was so hard for me. And by the way, it's probably the most number one question that is missed on the written test. I don't even know if they have VORs anymore, and I haven't taken a written test in a long time.
But then you go into the plane and actually do one. You turn your radio, find the signal, and you're like, oh, okay.
Turn, time, twist, tune, throttle, talk.
Yes.
See, there's one of those.
That was a deep pull.
That was. I
haven't thought about that in so long.
I haven't said that one in a while. I haven't trained any IFR students in a long time.
But actually doing it, I did it in between private and instrument when I was just flying around and wanted to learn more. And, you tune it, you twist it. And then you can understand like how your plane is crossing different radials. And when you pick one up and you fly to it, you see the to flag, and you pass over, and you can actually see down right below you this big white ball or whatever it is. And then you pass it, and then it goes to from, and things start making sense, right? It's crazy to try and explain things when a student's not understanding. It's a great time to get in the plane.
Absolutely.
You know what time it is, Carson?
Time is it, Brandon?
It's time to talk about one of our favorite companies.
Which company would that be?
Aviation Mentors is excited to be sponsored by the one and only Stratus Financial, dedicated to supporting the next generation of future aviators.
Stratus Financial really understands the financial challenges that students face in pursuing their aviation dreams. That's why they offer student loans specifically tailored to aspiring pilots.
With competitive rates and flexible repayment plans, Stratus Financial helps take your aviation education to new heights.
So go visit their website today at www.stratus.finance. Just to be clear, that is not .com, it's .finance. And embark on your journey towards a sky full of possibilities.
Carson, it's time to get back to what we do best.
The show.
Well, with some absolute magic, I am now sitting here with a jacket, and we're going to restart on the next question. It got cold in the office, and I had to go blow my nose because I'm so sick, and used a bunch of hand sanitizer so I can stay clean for the whole office. Oh, Carson's coming back into frame. That's good. All right. We want to talk about when should a CFI stay silent? Because I am a fan of this and also not a fan of this.
I think staying silent is really good when the student is preparing for their solo, and when they're preparing for stage checks, and especially when they're preparing for their check ride. I think those are the times the CFI should be silent. Other times are when you're, we use the GLIME syllabus for my training. And when we were doing the GLIME syllabus, it was rated 1, 2, 3. 1 was you don't really have the concept. 2 was you pretty much got it. You're almost there. 3 was you're good. You understand it. I think when you're doing concepts that the student almost understands, and certainly when they've got it, unless you have little corrections, I think it's a good time to start staying quiet because your student is understanding. And some things that you just can't teach. Like the biggest one for me because it was so vivid. I was flying by the seat of your pants, like understanding the feel of the airplane when you're landing. And that's something you can explain, but you can't teach, right? The student has to feel that part for themselves. So I think unless you have corrections, or if the student's about to do something really stupid or dangerous, I think that's a good time to start staying quiet.
I would agree. I think when you're testing somebody on some concepts, that's a time to stay quiet and you take some notes down. And Carson's phone going off during a podcast.
I know. It's like I have another job.
I know. Should quit.
If only.
No, I think that you should stay quiet when you're testing somebody on something. And I think it kind of goes along with your same concepts that you just talked about. When you're testing somebody on something, then there's no use in you talking them through it or talking about things or telling them every mistake they made. You should just take your knee board, write down your notes, or type them out, whatever you're using for your knee board, and then debrief that at the end of the flight. And I know that we also had a comment here or an idea here about GoPro recordings. I don't really think GoPro recordings should be used in flight training. I think that there are some other recordings. There's some other systems that are now being put into aircraft, and it tells you everything about your flight. It tells you your speed. It tells you if you stalled. It tells you your altitude. It tells you your flight path, and it can recreate that in a digital way. I think that sometimes looking at that type of stuff is advantageous, especially when you want to bring someone back to where they were messing up. But I'll tell you this, most of the time, they're not thinking about every turn of that flight like you are and like that video is. They're just thinking, oh, I remember doing this right and this wrong on that maneuver. And whether or not they did it 1 time or 10 times, that's how they're thinking.
I agree with that. I think you're right.
I know I am.
Oh, you're so humble.
I'm so
it's
humble.
It's your best quality.
I know it is. Maybe I should be sick more often.
Please don't. I cannot be sick.
Well, just go wash your face with hand sanitizer after we're done with this.
I do.
All right. So next one is going to be a question on, should we use a rigid syllabus versus adaptive training?
I'm a big fan of adaptive training.
What about all the Part 141 schools? Collegiate programs, Carson?
You want to have this debate right now?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
I don't.
We need more reels. I want to make another $77 this year.
I don't think. I don't think a syllabus matters. I think a syllabus only matters as far as the content you need to cover. And I think it needs to be adapted to the student, because some students can absolutely nail certain pieces of flight training and completely screw up other parts. But following a rigid syllabus that won't let you move on to other things, and then come back to what you're messing up on later, I think that causes students to just feel defeated, tap out, and quit. And in reality, they can go to other concepts in the future, come back to the one that they're messing up on.
I kind of agree. And the only reason why I kind of agree is because if you use a rigid syllabus that is a commercial-based syllabus like Gleim, Jeppesen, something like that, and you're doing it in a 141 environment, then you are stuck, like Carson was just talking about.
Because I did 141 for my private. So.
Yeah. But if you are using a different type of syllabus, one that the school created, they likely have provisions in there to let you jump around. And that's in 141, by the way. If you are using just kind of a rough syllabi, like I know that my instructor used Jeppesen syllabus for my private pilot, because he would pull it out every once in a while and be like, oh, this is what we're working on today. It's like, okay, sounds good to me. I had no idea what we were working on. He told me what we were working on. But sometimes that lacked a little bit of structure to me. And I wish it would have had a little bit more structure. So I think that it's really kind of
there has to be a balance because
between
you didn't have structure. I had too much structure. Yeah. There's a middle ground somewhere that just not everyone finds. Some people, don't get me wrong, some people need structure. They need to know what's going to happen in the next flight. I enjoy showing up and being like, what are we doing?
Speaking of that, there's a pet peeve of mine that irritates me almost more than anything else in this industry from flight instructors. And they get to the flight school and they're running late and they're not prepared. And they go to the student. You know what they say? They say, what are we doing today, student? And
the hell if I know, you're the CFI.
Exactly. I've fired instructors for that, and they deserve to get fired because they're idiots. Yeah. Complete idiots. Don't be an idiot instructor that tells your student, what are we doing today?
That's not the student's job. The student's paying you to know what they're doing that day.
Exactly. I go to my my personal trainer, right? I go 2 to 3 times a week. His name's Jonathan. He's fantastic. Every time I go there, you know what he does? He says, by the way, Brandon, we're working on X, Y, and Z today. We're trying to get and figure out what your max bench rep is. Okay, how are we accomplishing that, Jonathan? Well, you're doing this, this, and this. Okay, sounds good. I'm here for the ride.
I think the only time that you should be asking the student what you're doing that day is in check ride prep. And you're just in the last pieces, and you have a couple things that you know that the student needs to work on, but it's really asking the student, hey, what are you not comfortable with yet that you feel like we want to keep brushing up on before you take your check ride? I think that's the only time that CFI should utter those words.
Yeah, I wouldn't utter them in that way. I would utter them in the second part that you said it.
Stop saying utter. You're not a cow.
Boo. What is, what are you not feeling comfortable with that I could help you with today? And that is an appropriate thing to say.
No, the first part of what I said is you as a CFI should come in with a list of a couple of things that you think the student already needs to work on. Because you need to put in the time. You need to catalog where that student's at and then come in with the plan.
Agreed.
You can just say I'm right.
Agreed. All right. So let's go to the next one. We're going to go 2 or 3 more, I think, today. Teaching all maneuvers on every flight. Should students practice basic maneuvers on every flight? Meaning, is there repetition for proficiency versus moving forward on other things? Ooh, Carson's cracking his neck because he feels this one so strongly, I guess.
I want to hear what you say first so I can fight you.
No, I think that you should not teach all maneuvers on every flight. I think you should get through all maneuvers in about a week when you're doing check ride prep.
I don't think you should teach, for the first time all maneuvers in every flight, but I think you should take half an hour and go over the maneuvers that the student's going to be tested on. Steep turns, slow flight, turns around a point, straight and level flight, slow
on
turns.
Every flight? Every flight?
I mean,
at what point every flight? At what point? Post solo? Prior to solo?
Post solo. You need to.
Wouldn't it make more sense prior to solo because you have to make sure that they're proficient in a number of items before they're even allowed to go on solo?
For their first solo flight, which is just going to be in the pattern. No, I think because students do need more solo hours than just that you should pound it into them so you as a CFI can feel comfortable letting them go do those solo maneuvers that they have to go do.
Fair enough.
You want to say I'm right?
You're not right.
Okay. What's your opinion?
I think that it depends on every student. You need to practice the things that they're not doing well on.
You can't say it depends on every student. Take a stance. Be a man.
I'm taking a stance, and it depends on the student. It's a true story.
It does. It really does depend on the student.
Because if they've mastered a couple things, you just need to check up on that every once in a while. You don't need to continuously beat them over the head and make them do a steep turn perfectly every single flight and waste their money.
I get it. But what I'm thinking of is my personal experience in flight training when I nailed steep turns, right? I was able to do a couple swipes of trim, turn it, and let go of the wheel, and it would just do its own thing.
Hit your wake?
I'd hit my wake all the time. I felt like I was on a jet ski. It was great.
Nice feeling.
It was a great feeling. But then it came closer to my check ride, and I was going plus or minus like 300 feet on a steep turn.
All right. Next thing for us to talk about, ForeFlight. I want to talk about ForeFlight for a minute first before we get into...
Yeah, I've heard some changes and some stuff going on with ForeFlight.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
A whole bunch of people got fired.
Okay.
So ForeFlight was created by ForeFlight, and then it was sold to Boeing.
I was like, really?
Boeing kept American employees and built the company up, and they owned Jeppesen. So it kind of worked out. They integrated a bunch of things. And then Boeing just sold ForeFlight to a new company. Not just, but they did it last year. I think last year. within the past 18 months, but recently. They sold it, and AI is changing things. As you know, AI changes everything. And they ended up letting go of a bunch of people from ForeFlight. A bunch of people. Also, FSP also let a bunch of people go. I think that both of these companies are trying to pad their wallets and replace people with AI because it's cheaper to get people out of the US. Now, granted, I'm a big proponent of having outsourced labor, but start it that way if you're going to start a business. I did. I'm not getting rid of Americans to hire people from other countries and save money and increase the value of my company like those two companies are. Now, am I a fan of both of those companies? One of them I am. And that's the one we're going to talk about today. What, Carson?
One of them I am.
Well,
and that's the one we're going to talk about today.
And that's ForeFlight.
Yeah.
So although they just let go of a bunch of people, which I'm kind of sad about because a couple of people I know, they do have a really, really good product. It's fantastic.
I mean, it's consistent. There's, knock on wood, never really any outages or issues with it.
As of now. I mean, you never know in the future. Now they got rid of a bunch of their people.
If we start having issues, that's going to say a lot.
That is true. Question is, should flight schools require students to use ForeFlight EFB? Do you know what EFB stands for?
Electronic flight bag.
Electronic flight bag from the start. Is it essential, or should students start with paper first? I will start this one off today. I used paper first. Carson, did you use paper at all?
I used paper first. I had to earn the right for ForeFlight.
Yeah. And that was kind of my policy. And I think I'm changing my thoughts on this nowadays. I mean, as long as you have ForeFlight on your phone as a backup, if it fails on your iPad, what are the odds?
I just read something on Reddit, though. This dude got stuck in VF or IFR because his ForeFlight died on his iPad and his phone.
What?
He had both. Both died.
Well,
and he was not familiar enough with all his instruments and having actual physical approach plates that he had to be talked down.
Really?
So, I think there's never going to be a need to get rid of paper entirely.
He had to be talked down. Did he have GPS in that airplane?
I don't know. I wasn't in the plane.
I have so many questions about this. I have a feeling there's training deficiencies as well. It's normally not just
training
one thing.
And currency, but
it's normally 3 or more things that causes a big problem like this.
Well, 3 or more things can still happen. Less likely, but can still happen. And I don't think that anyone should get rid of paper.
Really?
Yeah, I'm firm on that.
I think everybody should get rid of paper, and you should have 2 iPads and a phone.
2 iPads excessive.
Or 1 iPad, a phone, and you need to have the electronic flight bag. No, not a laptop.
Starlink.
You know, the Starlink's not a bad idea.
The Starlink can actually work until like 160 knots, I think.
It's really fast.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't want to go on that tangent right now. I really think that electronic flight bags should replace the paper. I mean, paper is really expensive. They're hard to get. They're outdated every 56 days or more. I don't know what the regulation is right now, but it's not as good.
I understand. I think having an outdated paper is better than having no paper, though.
Okay, maybe just keep one with you for the airports that you go to, like long term. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Okay, fine. I'll go with that. But if I'm traveling across the country, I'm not going to buy 15 sectionals and every single plate for the entire country. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
No. You should buy a TAC, though.
I don't think so. It's not needed. You've got electronic flight bag in 2 ways, your phone and your iPad.
Are you afraid of paper?
No, I just don't like clutter.
I know you don't like clutter, but it sounds like you haven't flown without ForeFlight in a while.
I fly without anything most of the time, actually. My GPS is up to date on my airplane. What do I need anything else for?
That makes sense.
I mean, I have ForeFlight on my phone, and it's always up to date, so I can pull it out. But if I can see the airspace on my plane, why don't I even pull it out? if I know all the,
If you already know it all.
I
Thanks. Okay.
know again. Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you
I
that.
mean, I know all the radio frequencies for the local area.
That was something I always had a hard time with.
I
There's
know
so many
all-
numbers.
It's okay.
What do the numbers mean?
8675309.
8, 6, 7, 5.
Yeah,
3,
just calling Jenny now. Well, I think on that one, I think we should leave it at that.
You think we're getting delusional?
I think it's been a long day.
It is 9:56 a.m.
Like I said, it's been a long day.
All right,
And it's a nice day outside. I think I'm going to go spend some time outside because I was in the Northeast. And for any of you that were in that storm, I was there with you and it was miserable.
Was it actually that cold?
I think the lowest was -7 wind chill in New York City where I was at.
That's not bad. It was 70 here.
-7 wind chill. And it was like 4 degrees or 7 degrees at one point, like just normal in the sun. In the sun. Oh, and then it dropped 14 inches of snow in like 4 hours.
Wow. So your flight got delayed?
Yeah, it got canceled. And then I spent $250 on an Uber to EWR and it got canceled again. And then I was able to get us on a flight for 5 of us at a different airport and had to spend another $250 on another Uber
That's crazy.
to go to
Ubers
the
were still
other
driving.
airport. No. At this time, it was 24 hours after because all the flights got canceled for a day. So then I made it out the next day and then almost didn't make it. Oh, here's the best part. When we were at our gate, it was boarding time. Like it was 7:05 last night was supposed to be boarding time, right? So we show up to the gate at 7:01. We're waiting, hanging out. The lady's yelling at people because there's too many people crowding, getting ready to get on the airplane. And at 7:07, like we realized that something's not right. And she gets on the speaker and says, by the way, we need to get a part from EWR. It will be a 2.5 to 3 hour delay. And everybody in the entire area gasped because everybody's flights have been canceled multiple times. Everyone's irritated. And there's people cussing and old people super mad. It was hilarious. I was just like, well, time to go back to the lounge. Oh, but I couldn't get back to the lounge because half of my party had Delta One seats so we can get into the Delta One lounge and half didn't. And I sweet talked my way in there one time. Getting in there a second time was not possible. So we ended up going to
You can't buy a day pass?
not in the Delta One lounge. So then I went into the regular Delta lounge, which I have a thing for. And we all got into that. We sit down for 5 minutes in there. We don't even go and get a drink or food or anything. Sit down for 5 minutes. We just literally found a seat. And then we hear on the loudspeaker, we are now boarding flight 707 to Los Angeles. Your flight is no longer delayed. And found out they just marked it in op and said, send it.
Dude.
We ended up getting home just fine.
At least you didn't, go somewhere really far.
New York was 6 hour flight. That's pretty damn far.
I meant from the airport.
Oh yeah. Can you imagine?
Calm down, buddy.
Oof.
I know you're angry. It's
I mean,
okay.
I was
It's done.
angry.
It's in the past.
Delta got us back. It did. Just 36 hours later.
Should have flown Spirit. It would have been back.
I
Fly
know,
no matter what.
I know. Or Ryanair.
Oh, they'll just take you.
Yeah. Just be like, send it.
Yeah. They'll put snow chains on the tires.
Exactly. All right. Well, I think that's it for today. This was actually a fun episode. I want to do more of these.
We should. Good thing we have another 20 questions that we were.
I think more than that. We might have 30 more. But cool. Well, thank you so much for listening or, of course, watching us too. We really appreciate it. You can reach us on our emails, Brandon at aviationmentors.com, Carson at or producer at if you want to reach Mark. Don't forget, we love LinkedIn. Find us on LinkedIn. Look for the handsome guy, Brandon Martini. That's me. Or the guy who's sub-handsome. That's Carson Vasquez with his name right there. And we'd love to connect with you on there. Just make sure that you mention you found us through the podcast on Aviation Mentors. That way we say yes and accept your addition to our friendship on LinkedIn. Please don't forget to hit like, follow, subscribe, share, and stream. I don't know. All of the things you're supposed to do on social media. It really helps us grow. Helps us make $77 in Q4, apparently.
What?
And it really helps us be found by additional aviators. So thank you so much for listening to us today. We really appreciate it. Hope you have a great day.
Thank you, everybody. And as we wrap up for the day, remember, we're here to guide you in your aviation journey. So fly safe and enjoy the ride.
See ya.